What if I told you there's a community in America where a single family's pantry holds more food than most of us buy in 6 months, and it all lasts through the entire winter without a single trip to the grocery store? No, this isn't some doomsday prepper fantasy. This is everyday life for the Amish. And their winter pantry secrets are so effective, they'd literally put supermarkets out of business if everyone knew them. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into something that'll completely transform how you think about food storage. I'm talking about 30 authentic Amish winter pantry secrets that have been passed down through generations. And trust me, by the end of this video, you're going to wonder why anyone ever thought they needed a supermarket membership. Here's the crazy part. While we're throwing away billions of pounds of spoiled food every year and making weekly grocery runs, the Amish are sitting on pantries full of food that can last for months, even years, without refrigeration. They're spending less, wasting nothing, and eating better than most of us. So how are they doing it? That's exactly what we're about to uncover. Before we jump in, if you love learning about sustainable living, homesteading tips, and money-saving life hacks, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a video. And drop a comment below telling me which Amish technique you're most excited to try. All right, let's get into these game-changing secrets. Number 1, root cellar magic. First up, we need to talk about the backbone of Amish food storage, the root cellar. Now, if you think this is just some old-fashioned hole in the ground, think again. Root cellars are engineered masterpieces that use the Earth's natural properties to create the perfect storage environment. The Amish build these underground or partially underground structures that maintain temperatures between 32 and 40 degrees Fahrenheit with 85 to 95% humidity. That's the sweet spot where potatoes, carrots, beets, turnips, onions, and apples can stay fresh for months without any electricity whatsoever. Here's what makes them work. The earth itself acts as insulation. When you dig down just a few feet, the temperature becomes incredibly stable. The Amish line their root cellars with straw-filled boxes, layer crops with sand or sawdust to prevent moisture loss, and carefully manage airflow. And get this, food stored properly in a root cellar can last from October all the way through March or April. That's 6 months of fresh vegetables without a single power bill. Number 2, ice house innovation. Now this next one sounds like something out of a history book, but it's still used by many Amish communities today. Ice houses are insulated structures that store massive blocks of ice harvested from frozen ponds and lakes during January and February. Picture this. Entire communities come together for ice parties where they cut huge blocks of ice and transport them to specially built ice houses. These structures have thick walls and are insulated with sawdust or straw, which slows down the melting process so dramatically that the ice can last well into summer. The genius here is that this ice creates a natural refrigeration system. Dairy products, meats, and other perishables are stored in these ice houses, and the temperature stays cold enough to preserve everything safely. It's basically a refrigerator that runs on winter, and it costs absolutely nothing to operate once it's built. Number 3, spring house cooling. If you've got access to flowing water, this secret is pure gold. Spring houses are structures built over natural springs or streams, and they're one of the most elegant food storage solutions I've ever seen. The constant flow of cold spring water maintains a steady, cool temperature year-round. The Amish place sealed containers of milk, eggs, cheese, and vegetables directly in the spring water or on shelves alongside it. The water temperature rarely fluctuates, creating an ideal environment that keeps food fresh without any mechanical cooling. What I love about this method is that the flowing water also controls humidity perfectly. It prevents food from drying out while also stopping mold growth. It's like nature designed the perfect refrigerator, and the Amish just had the wisdom to use it. Number 4, cold pantry design. Not everyone has access to underground cellars or natural springs, but the Amish have a solution for that too. The cold pantry. These are specially designed pantries with extra insulation, strategic placement away from heat sources, and thick walls made of wood, stone, or clay. The key is blocking heat and direct sunlight. By positioning pantries on the north side of the house and using materials that naturally regulate temperature, they create spaces cool enough to store food safely without modern cooling methods. Some cold pantries even incorporate ventilation systems that allow cool air to circulate while keeping warm air out. Number 5. Strategic food placement. Here's something most people never think about. Not all foods can be stored together. The Amish know that apples release ethylene gas, which causes potatoes to sprout faster. So they never store apples and potatoes in the same area. Cabbage releases strong odors that can affect other foods, so it's either fermented into sauerkraut or stored separately. Dairy products need cool, dry conditions, not the humid environment of a root cellar, so they go in spring houses or cold cellars instead. This strategic separation is the difference between food that lasts all winter and food that spoils in weeks. Number 6. Water bath canning. All right. Now we're getting into the preservation techniques that really blow my mind. Water bath canning is one of the most popular methods in Amish communities, and once you understand how simple it is, you'll wonder why you ever relied on store-bought canned goods. This method works for high-acid foods like tomatoes, fruits, pickles, jams, and jellies. You literally just need a pot, glass jars, and a heat source. You fill the jars with food, submerge them in boiling water, and the heat kills harmful bacteria while creating a vacuum seal. That's it. No fancy equipment needed. The beautiful thing about water bath canning is that jars sealed properly can last for a full year or more. Imagine opening a jar of peaches in January that taste like they were just picked in July. That's the power of canning done right. Number 7. Pressure canning. Now, low-acid foods like vegetables, meats, and seafood need a different approach because they require higher temperatures to kill dangerous bacteria. That's where pressure canning comes in. Pressure canners can reach temperatures of 240 degrees Fahrenheit, which is the only safe way to can things like green beans, corn, carrots, and especially meats. The Amish use pressure canning to preserve entire meals. They'll can beef, chicken, and pork so they have ready-to-eat protein through the winter. And here's the kicker. When you pressure can meat, it creates this incredibly tender, fall-apart texture and produces a rich broth in the jar that you can use for future meals. Properly pressure canned meats can last 12 to 18 months. That's a year and a half of shelf-stable protein with zero refrigeration. Number 8. Fermentation secrets. Fermentation might be the most underrated preservation method out there, and the Amish have been masters of it for centuries. This process uses natural bacteria to transform and preserve food while actually improving its nutritional value. Sauerkraut, pickles, and kefir are all created through fermentation using nothing but salt, water, and thyme. No artificial preservatives, no additives, just nature doing its thing. And the probiotic benefits? They support gut health and overall wellness in ways that fresh food simply can't match. Fermented foods can last for months in cool storage, and they get more flavorful as they age. The Amish often have entire shelves devoted to fermentation crocks, and these foods become staples that carry them through the winter. Number 9. Dehydration methods. Sun drying, air drying, and low heat drying are time-tested techniques that concentrate nutrients and flavors while removing the water that causes spoilage. The Amish dehydrate herbs, fruits like apples and peaches, vegetables, and even create dried soup mixes. Once dried, these foods can be stored in jars or cloth sacks for months or even years. Dehydrated foods are lightweight, space-efficient, and incredibly versatile. You can rehydrate them for cooking or eat them as healthy snacks. Plus, drying food requires absolutely no electricity, just patience and the right conditions. Number 10. Salt curing. Salt curing is one of humanity's oldest preservation methods, and it's still incredibly effective. The Amish rub meats like pork with salt, which draws out moisture and creates an environment where bacteria can't survive. This technique allows meats to be stored for long periods without refrigeration. Think of traditional country ham or salt pork. These weren't just delicacies, they were survival foods that kept families fed through long winters. The process is simple: salt, time, and proper storage conditions. Number 11. Smoking techniques. After curing, many meats go through a smoking process that adds both flavor and an extra layer of preservation. Smoke creates a protective barrier on the meat's surface that inhibits bacterial growth and spoilage. Smoked meats can last for weeks or even months without refrigeration. The Amish have smokehouses specifically designed for this purpose, and the results are incredible. We're talking about bacon, sausages, and hams that are not only preserved, but taste absolutely amazing. Number 12. Lard sealing. This technique is pure genius. Cooked meats are submerged in rendered lard, which creates an airtight seal that blocks out bacteria and prevents spoilage. This method is particularly popular for preserving sausages. The lard acts like nature's Tupperware. It seals in freshness, prevents oxidation, and can keep meat safe to eat for months. When you're ready to use the meat, you simply scrape off the lard, and the meat inside is as fresh as the day you sealed it. Number 13. Honey storage. Let's talk about foods that literally last forever. And honey is at the top of that list. Archaeologists have found pots of honey in ancient Egyptian tombs that were still edible after thousands of years. Honey's natural preservatives and low water content make it virtually indestructible. The Amish use honey as a sweetener, a remedy for sore throats, an ingredient in baking, and even in homemade skincare products. Store it in a cool, dark place, and it'll outlast you, your kids, and probably your grandkids. Number 14. Dried beans. Beans are a powerhouse food that can last for decades when stored properly in airtight containers. The Amish stock up on varieties like pinto, navy, kidney, and black beans because they're an excellent source of protein and incredibly versatile. You can make soups, stews, refried beans, chili, and even grind them into flour for baking. Dried beans are cheap, nutritious, and they just keep on giving. If there's one food you should be stockpiling, it's dried beans. Number 15. White rice. White rice has a shelf life of over 25 years when stored correctly. The Amish keep it in airtight containers in cool, dry locations, and it stays fresh and ready to use for decades. Unlike brown rice, which contains oils that can spoil, white rice is completely stable. It's a versatile base for countless meals, pairs perfectly with beans, and provides essential calories for long-term food security. Number 16. Wheat berries. This is the ultimate whole grain. Wheat berries can remain viable for decades when stored in food-grade buckets with oxygen absorbers. The Amish grind them into fresh flour as needed, which means their baked goods are more nutritious and flavorful than anything you'll find in a store. Fresh ground flour contains all the natural oils, vitamins, and minerals that commercial flour loses during processing. Plus, by storing wheat berries instead of flour, you're extending shelf life dramatically while maximizing nutrition. Number 17. Oats. Oats can last up to 30 years when stored in airtight containers. The Amish use them for oatmeal, cookies, bread, and even grind them into flour for baking. They're packed with fiber, protein, and essential nutrients. The versatility of oats make them a must-have for long-term storage. Whether you're making breakfast, desserts, or hearty baked goods, oats deliver nutrition and satisfaction without any refrigeration needed. Number 18. Apple cider vinegar. Here's a pantry superstar that almost everyone overlooks. Apple cider vinegar is already fermented, which means it has an almost indefinite shelf life and doesn't require refrigeration. The Amish use it for cooking, pickling, cleaning, and even as a health tonic. It's antibacterial, helps preserve other foods, and adds incredible flavor to recipes. One bottle can last years and serve dozens of purposes. Number 19. Whole spices. Ground spices lose their potency quickly, but whole spices like cinnamon sticks, peppercorns, cloves, and nutmeg can last for years when stored in airtight glass jars. The Amish grind spices fresh as needed, ensuring maximum flavor and potency. This not only saves money, but also means every meal tastes better. Whole spices are invaluable for baking, cooking, and even preserving other foods. Number 20. Powdered milk. Powdered milk stored properly in airtight containers can last up to 20 years. It's like having a backup cow in your cupboard. The Amish use powdered milk for baking, making yogurt, enriching bread dough, and as a reliable dairy substitute. It eliminates the worry of fresh milk spoiling and provides essential calcium and protein year-round. Number 21. Egg preservation with lime. This technique blew my mind when I first learned about it. The Amish preserve eggs using hydrated lime powder mixed with water. Fresh, unwashed eggs are submerged in this alkaline solution, and it creates an environment that prevents spoilage for up to a year without refrigeration. This is crucial because chickens slow down egg production during winter and fall. By preserving eggs during peak laying season, Amish families ensure they have fresh eggs available all year long. The key is using unwashed eggs because the natural protective coating on the shell keeps bacteria out. Number 22. Pickled red beet eggs. These are a staple in Amish pantries, and they're as delicious as they are practical. Hard-boiled eggs are peeled and placed in jars with beets, then covered with a mixture of beet liquid, water, sugar, and vinegar. After a few days, the eggs turn purple and develop this sweet, tangy flavor that's absolutely addictive. They have a shelf life of 3 to 4 months and provide a protein-rich snack or meal addition throughout the winter when fresh eggs might be scarce. Number 23. Chow chow. Sometimes called end-of-the-season relish, chow chow is how the Amish salvage every last vegetable from their harvest. It's a mixture of chopped vegetables like green beans, cabbage, corn, peppers, and onions, combined with vinegar and spices like mustard seed and turmeric. This sweet and tangy relish is incredibly versatile. You can serve it as a topping on hot dogs and burgers or as a side dish with heartier meats. Once canned, chow chow has a shelf life of up to a year, and it's a perfect way to reduce food waste while creating something delicious. Number 25. Apple butter. Apple butter is made by cooking down apples until they're caramelized into a thick, spiced spread. The Amish make huge batches during apple season, and it becomes a pantry staple that lasts for months. You can use apple butter on toast, biscuits, mixed into oatmeal, or even as an ingredient in baking. It captures the essence of fall and provides that concentrated sweetness without refined sugar. Plus, the canning process means you're enjoying summer fruit flavors in the dead of winter. Number 26. Sauerkraut. Fermented cabbage isn't just a preservation method, it's a nutritional powerhouse. Sauerkraut is made by fermenting finely chopped cabbage with salt, and the process creates beneficial probiotics that support gut health. The fermentation process means sauerkraut actually becomes more nutritious over time. It can last for months in proper storage conditions, and it adds incredible flavor and crunch to meals. Plus, cabbage is one of those vegetables that produces abundant harvests, so fermenting it into sauerkraut prevents waste while creating something even better than the original vegetable. Number 27. Fruit jams and preserves. Amish fruit jams are legendary, often prepared during Christmas time when families gather for canning sessions. Strawberries, blueberries, raspberries, and other berries are mixed with sugar and cooked using the boiling water bath method. The cooked jam is poured into mason jars and sealed to preserve summer sweetness. These jams can last up to a year when stored properly, and once opened, they'll stay fresh for 3 to 4 weeks in a cool place. They provide bursts of summer flavor even in the depths of winter. Number 28. Seasonal eating philosophy. Here's where the Amish really separate themselves from modern food culture. They don't fight the seasons, they embrace them. Their calendars aren't filled with appointments, but with planting dates, harvest windows, and preservation goals. In early spring, they focus on fast-growing greens and root vegetables. Summer brings tomatoes, cucumbers, peppers, and squash. Fall is for hardy crops and storage vegetables like beets, cabbage, and leeks. Winter isn't idle, it's when root cellars are accessed and pantry shelves provide sustenance. By eating seasonally, they reduce their need for storage, minimize food waste, and make the most of foods available during each season. This rhythm with nature is sustainable, cost-effective, and actually results in better-tasting, more nutritious meals. Number 29. Ventilation and humidity balance. Proper ventilation is absolutely critical for preventing mold growth and moving ethylene gas out of storage areas. The Amish incorporate ventilation systems in their root cellars that allow air to circulate while maintaining the right humidity levels. Too much humidity causes rot. Too little dries out produce. Finding that sweet spot between 85 and 95% humidity is what makes root cellars so effective. They use hygrometers and simple observation to maintain ideal conditions. Good ventilation also prevents condensation, which can ruin stored foods. By allowing fresh air to move through storage spaces without creating drafts that raise temperature, they create the perfect environment for long-term food preservation. Number 30. Regular inspection routine. The final secret is something most people forget: maintenance. The Amish regularly check their stored foods, removing anything that's rotting, sprouting, or declining in quality before it affects other items. This isn't a set-it-and-forget-it system. They inspect root cellars weekly, checking potatoes for sprouting, carrots for softness, apples for spots, and canned goods for seal integrity. By catching problems early, they prevent widespread spoilage and maximize their harvest. In early spring, when potatoes start sprouting, cabbages get wilty and onions become mushy. That's when the first spring garden produce becomes ready for harvest. It's a beautiful cycle that ensures they're never without fresh food, even though they're completely disconnected from the grocery store supply chain. Wow! We just covered 30 incredible Amish winter pantry secrets that genuinely could put supermarkets out of business. Think about it. If more people adopted even a fraction of these techniques, the entire food distribution system would change overnight. Let's quickly recap some of the biggest game changers we learned today. Root cellars, ice houses, and spring houses provide electricity-free refrigeration using natural properties. Water bath and pressure canning preserve foods for a year or longer without any chemical preservatives. Fermentation not only preserves food, but actually enhances its nutritional value with beneficial probiotics. Strategic storage of forever foods like honey, dried beans, white rice, and wheat berries creates a pantry that lasts for decades. And unique techniques like egg preservation with lime, pickled red beet eggs, and fermented vegetables ensure variety and nutrition throughout the winter months when fresh food is scarce. But here's what really stands out to me. The Amish aren't just storing food, they're maintaining a connection to the seasons, to their community, and to traditional wisdom that's been proven over centuries. While we're rushing to grocery stores every week, fighting crowds and throwing away spoiled food, they're living with abundance, security, and zero food waste. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. This sounds amazing, but I don't have a root cellar or a spring house. That's okay. You don't need to go full Amish to benefit from these principles. Start small. Try water bath canning some tomatoes or making a batch of sauerkraut. Invest in some quality glass jars and learn basic fermentation. Create a cool storage area in your basement or garage. Buy dried beans and rice in bulk and store them properly. Each step you take toward food independence is a step away from dependency on a system that's increasingly expensive and unreliable. The beautiful thing about Amish pantry wisdom is that it scales. Whether you live on a farm with acres of land or in an apartment with a small kitchen, you can apply these principles. Even canning a few jars of jam or dehydrating some herbs connects you to this timeless tradition of self-reliance. Before we wrap up, I want to hear from you. Which of these 30 secrets surprised you the most? Have you tried any Amish preservation techniques yourself? What food storage challenges are you facing right now? Drop all your thoughts in the comments below. I read every single one, and I love learning from this community. If you found value in today's video, do me a huge favor. Smash that like button to help this content reach more people who need it. The algorithm loves engagement, and your like tells YouTube that this information matters. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you never miss future videos about homesteading, sustainable living, and money-saving strategies that actually work. I've got so many more Amish secrets, traditional skills, and practical tips coming your way. Want to dive even deeper? Check out the video I linked in the description about building your own root cellar and the one about starting your fermentation journey with beginner-friendly recipes. These are perfect next steps if today's content got you excited about food preservation. Thank you so much for watching, for being part of this community, and for taking the time to learn about these incredible techniques. The Amish have so much to teach us about living intentionally, wasting less, and building real food security for our families. Remember, every jar you can, every vegetable you ferment, and every skill you learn is an investment in your independence. These aren't just old-fashioned traditions, they're time-tested solutions to modern problems. Until next time, stay curious, stay prepared, and keep learning. I'll see you in the next video.